Welcome to the Not Superheroes Just Dads podcast. No, we can't fly. No, we can't shoot lasers or pick up giant buildings. But what we can do is help set the foundations for our families, be present for our kids, and combat generational cycles. On this podcast, we dive into everything dad related, from the struggles we deal with as fathers to what our favorite thing to barbecue is. Hello, I am Sean Laurie, and I hope everyone is doing great today, man. Of course, like always, I'm always excited to have a guest on, but today's really special for me, y'all, because we go back, man. This is basically my brother from another mother. Know him since seventh grade, I think. We go way back. So, and this man is always busy. So, the fact that I'm able to even have him on here, man, y'all don't understand how huge this is for me. But how you doing, Jeremy? How you doing, my guy?
I am well, man. I really do appreciate you having me on here. I know we've already had these conversations like multiple times trying to
Yeah,
make this happen, but I feel like it's a blessing to be able to get this sucker going today. I appreciate you
yeah.
having me on here.
Absolutely, man. Before we dive in, I like to do icebreakers. So, I'm gonna see if I can get you on this one. So, obviously, you have three beautiful children. Um, I'm sorry. What is one trait that you see that all three of your kids have? That you see when you see it, you're like, dang, that's me.
You know what? I feel like they are the smoothest liars. I know when I was younger, I was the smoothest liar. Like, it's going to be hard for you to figure out if I'm lying or not because my face won't change, my tone isn't going to change, everything is going to be the same. So with my kids, that's exactly how they are. So you, if you've ever been around, you will see me kind of staring at them for a minute before I even respond to what they're saying. Why? Because I need to look a little deeper because they are doing a great job at lying about whatever they're about to lie about. It could be the simplest things. So that is one of those traits that they
That's
have
what I
that's
hope.
like mine.
That means they might make some good lawyers or something. I don't know.
Oh man, hey, whatever positive they want to use it for, I feel like it's good. Because that was me when I was younger, and now like as I'm older, with that straight face and all that, I don't have to lie. Whatever you're gonna get is gonna be 110%. And if you don't
Yeah,
like it, I'm sorry. I'm cool with saying I'm sorry. But this is what you're gonna get.
that's what it is. That's funny,
Yeah.
man. So with your three beautiful kids, man. Just share a little bit about your fatherhood journey, man. Like, just tell us a little bit about, obviously you like I said, you have three beautiful kids, but just the like how basically how that is, man. How was that for you having I know you have your son, your firstborn, and then your two younger ones. Like, just share a little bit about that, man, and how that's been for you, just going through that fatherhood journey.
Yeah, man. So, I have three. My oldest is 13. He's a boy. Then
That's
I
crazy.
have a 10-year-old boy. I know they getting old so fast. And then I also have a 7-year-old girl. So I had my two boys first, which was always ideal for me. If I was going to have any kids, I wanted to have the boy first. You think about, siblings and you think about the protector. You obviously want the boy first. So I had two first, and then now I have my girl. My oldest, 13, he is from a previous relationship. Nothing against that. I got a beautiful child out of it. And he's a growing young man, 13 years old, just became a teenager. He's actually about to be 14 in a few months, so, that was a separate piece and journey in itself. Then I have my 10-year-old and my 7-year-old, from the wife that I have right now. And, I feel like it's a beautiful thing. Growing up for me wasn't no father in the household. Me and my four younger siblings, which are sisters, they all had their dads some way in their life. He would either send funds, or pop up here and there. Okay, cool. But mine never met. So I knew from a young age that I wanted kids. I
Mm,
felt like I had that inside me, where that little fire burning inside, where I knew if I were to become a dad, I could do it better than what I was seeing, around me. I knew I would be able to be there 100% of the time. I just had that standard for myself. So I knew when I was young that I wanted kids. So, I knew I wanted to be able to enjoy my life prior to having kids. As we all say as men, you want to be able to, enjoy some of that. But, I knew I wanted them. So once I finally started having kids, it wasn't in the best of situations. Um, but I was able to, kind of see myself during that time. And that was the first piece that I was able to see,
Mm,
where it told me something about myself. Like, okay, you understand that this is going to be hard. You understand that you're never going to be ready for every single thing that comes at you, when it comes to the relationship or with this child. So as long as you keep an open mind and be willing to put in the work, oh, you're going to succeed. So I went ahead and I went forward with it, So now, him being 13, he's dope, man. The boy is dope. And I'm not just saying that because he's my child. He is super talented. It's his lyrical ability is there, when it comes to him deciding he wants to rap. In life, for his career, he feels like he wants to be an architect, so he has those tools, in order to be that. Now, my 10-year-old boy, that's my special child right there. That's my special child right there because this guy, anything, it doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter how far out of the scope of what you think 10-year-olds should be doing, if he touches it, he is going to excel in it. He's going to be like number one, within that, whatever that category is. So he's my special one. He talks a lot because he's very knowledgeable. He has his own opinion. He is that is me. When I say a spitting image of me, he is me. So that's my child I get the most problems out of, but it's hard, dealing with him because he excels in everything. The
mm,
boy is about to go into the 6th grade, and from kindergarten all the way up until 5th grade, where he just finished, he has never missed a single award that they offer. He's
that's
always
crazy.
been he's always been top in his class, always number one in his class. And teachers request for him to be in their class because how he how he involves himself in everything that goes on within the class. So he's a special being. The boy is good. Obviously, like I said, that's my toughest child. Probably is my child that I was the toughest on,
Mm,
when it comes to, doing my parenting. But watching him excel, bro, it's a beautiful thing. Beautiful, beautiful thing. Now I got my 7-year-old, and she's a girl too. So that was a completely different challenge for me, So having her and knowing that she's a girl and thinking about my experiences with women growing up, I figured it was going to be hard. Shoot, I gave her the middle name Battle, for a reason. I knew it was going to be a battle. Josephine Battle Williams. I knew it was going to be that. So, and it is like that right now because I get the attitudes. I get the tears that come right after, I have to talk to her about whatever she's doing.
yeah.
She feels free to say almost anything she wants to say. So I have to make sure that I'm conscious of what I'm saying when I'm around her, because she really will pick it up and she'll bring it back. Now, I'm originally from Memphis, Tennessee, so I still have this southern drawl when it comes to saying certain things. Even the way that I speak when I'm speaking around the house, they'll pick it up, and I can hear them saying things that they would normally say in their voice in my voice. And she is the biggest one. Like, we'll be going to bed, and then she'll just pop out with something random that I said earlier that sound normal to me, but now her saying it sounds hilarious. So yeah, man,
Funny,
she's a
man.
different being too, man. And I love these kids. And
Yeah.
like I said, my whole journey, within my journey, and it's not gonna be over. It's not going to be over until, I leave this earth, until I rest, until the Lord and Savior comes and gets us all.
Yeah.
So the job is going to continue to keep moving. So my journey is still in motion, but I love the journey. I love all the ups. I love the downs. Um, and I'm a weird person to say that I probably enjoyed the downs more than a lot of other people. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because it continuously reminds me of the strength that I have, through our Lord and Savior, of course. But it reminds me of the strength that I have, how well I can get myself out of a bind, how I don't have to ask anyone for anything. I have the mentality of going out there and getting it. I don't care if I lose sleep. I don't care if I'm sick and my body's hurting. My kidneys may be hurting. It doesn't matter. I'm getting out there and I got to get it. So this journey is a beautiful one, bro. And all I
Yeah.
can do is, thank the Most High for allowing me to have it with three different kids and three different personalities.
Yeah, yeah. No, bro, I can relate because I got four, so they all they all have their own personality. So I definitely can relate to that. And I was gonna ask you because what you're saying, everything you're saying is true, y'all. Like he's not just gassing. Trust me, all his kids are very, very, very special, very unique. I'm not just saying this because that's my boy. Like, and Jeremiah is he's gonna be telling he's gonna be telling you, bro. Like, all right, like I don't need you anymore. I'm 12 years old. I can just I can cook, I can clean. I'm matter of fact, I'm looking for a job at this point, right? So
Yeah.
what you say is true, bro. But I wanted to ask you, man, because you're such an amazing father. Not even just from the outside looking in, I've seen it firsthand, and I want to ask you, like, how because, like you said, you didn't have that father figure at all, right? Like where your sisters did at times, they might have had like I like to call it the part time dad or whatever, or sometime dad, right? But for you, you didn't have that. So obviously, I've always known you're a hard worker. That's in you. But what helped you to be the amazing father you are now? Was it more so just, hey, this is I want to make sure I do the opposite, or I want to do the things that I wish I had, or was it? Did you have different examples? Like, what was it that helped you to get to be the father you are now?
I think about 80% of it was basically off of the things that I seen growing up that I did not want to do when it
Mm-hmm.
came to having kids. So that was a big piece of it because it gave me an example of what the negative things were, and easily I can just say, let me just do the opposite and see if that works. And the opposite really does work, man. I didn't have that. So being able to kind of pay attention to other people's relationships, the men that my grandmother was with, the men that my mom was with, being able to see all of that and how they treated them and how they treated us, it showed me exactly, how I was not supposed to be. So it was like an easy thing to be able to take all those negative things, put them in a box here so that I can look at them and be like, oh, hey, that's one of those things you definitely don't want to do right there. Oh, hey, you definitely don't want to do that thing right there because you knew how you felt during those times. Whether it
Yeah.
be the man mistreating your mom, you knew how you felt. Whether it be the men the way they mistreated us or just neglected us, I knew how I felt during that time. I
Mm,
wasn't able to process it 100% then, but now looking back at it, yeah, man, none of that was a positive feeling. There was little spits and spats here and there where it could have been where it was something positive, but or something that I may have just turned into a positive, depending on my view then. But it wasn't much. So I took all those things and I just wanted to implement that. As you know, we had conversations before, about my pops. I'm 37 years old, and I literally just started having conversations with him last year. Last year. And why did I have started having conversations with him? Because I reached out. And the reason why I reached out was because of my kids. They kept asking me questions that I just didn't have the answers to. And I don't like to lie to my kids, and I don't like to just give them fluff. to get them to get to stepping or be
Yeah.
done with that question. I don't like that fluff. So I wanted to continue to give them those real answers. So in order for me to give them those real answers, I had to go and seek those, right? So I reached out to them. I used a couple of my cousins. Shout out to Ashley Williams and Brianna Williams. Those are my little cousins, and they sent me the information that I needed, and I was able to reach out, and it started with a conversation, and I just went straight in. Like I said, I
Mhm.
was super nervous. My wife is telling me, "Hey, you go ahead and make that call," and I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna make that call when I'm ready." And I'm literally just laying on the bed. I know I'm ready, but at the same time, I'm not ready.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
So
big.
I made that call, and now we've been growing. It's been 7, 8 months now that we've been communicating, and it's been perfect, man. And I had the opportunity to meet him in person,
Mhm.
on Father's Day. He came out here and met me in person on Father's Day. And I knew it took a lot out of him too. Um, Regardless of what happened in the past, it took a lot out of him too. So he had to be able to man up and come out here to me
Yeah.
and introduce himself. And now he's introducing himself not only to me, he's introducing himself to my wife, he's introducing himself to my 3 beautiful kids. So it took a lot. And now we have a relationship where it almost seems like we've been talking. Like we never had that 37 years worth of time where we didn't talk. Like we didn't have that. And I'm not out here trying to beat my chest, but I can say it's because I prayed on it so much that God gave me that strength, bro, to be able to have an open mind with him jumping into my life like that. Have an open mind. I didn't judge the man for anything because there was nothing that I needed. My grandmother, my mom, my aunts, uncles, they all played a piece in building me up.
Mm.
So there was nothing that I felt like I was really missing, from there. So I was able to go into it with an open mind and just have a conversation with him. And we were able to have our conversation. We were able to get out and talk and and kind of pick each other's brain. And I'm seeing that the guy is more like me than anybody else that I've been around. You
Mm.
always wonder, like, who am I like? I look at my
Yeah.
mom. I see I have some of her features, but as a man, and this being your father, of course you're gonna be looking to see like what the comparisons are. The man even walks like me. I know it sounds weird for me to even watch the way the man walks, but you think about all those things that you've had those thoughts about or questions on, and literally your body just kind of goes into action.
Yeah.
I didn't really notice I was paying attention to the way that he walked until I seen that it felt like he was walking like me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, this is crazy.
Hey, that in the story, man, is I definitely wanna highlight that, man, because that's amazing to me. Just the fact
Oh,
that, like
come
you
on.
said, you was
I'm
able
sorry.
to. Oh no,
I'm
go ahead.
sorry. We got one here. This is Jeremiah. This is
Say
my
what's up,
10
Jeremiah?
year old.
What's up, man?
Say what's up, man.
What's up? What's up? You good?
He said your dreads are gone now.
Oh yeah, yeah. I cut my hair, man. I got the fade now, brother.
Yeah, he got a fade. He faded up. Yeah. Okay. Well, she can come and say hi, but bring dad's charger, phone charger,
Hey, man, that's father life. That's what it is. That's dad life.
with the box.
But what was I gonna say? No, bro. I was gonna basically just say to you, man. I wanted to really highlight that because I think that's dope. The fact that, like you said, you didn't let your ego get in the way or your pride get in the way. I actually did an episode on that. I can't remember a little while ago though. Right? It's like there's more. Sometimes it's not just as simple as my dad didn't want to be there. Right? There's a little bit more of a reason why maybe your father was absent. Could have been um, and as fathers, we know this now, right? As kids, we don't get this, but at times it could be depending on how the dynamic of the relationship went, right? That's when the mother unfortunately, not all mothers, but some mothers want to hold those grudges or try to prevent you from being a father, right? So as
Mm-hmm.
we get older, we see that, we understand that more. And so um, the fact that and I'm not saying your mom did that, but just the fact that you understand now, like, hey, and you being a father and understanding, hey, there's always so many different parts of the story that's not necessarily being told, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
giving your dad the opportunity, and then shout out to your dad as well for him to check his ego, because especially I mean, he grew up in, back in the day, old school, where it's like one of those things where it's like you gotta you gotta come to me, right? Like you got, yeah, I know I haven't been there, but you gotta come to me. Like you gotta quote unquote bow down to me. So the fact that he was able to humble himself and be like, yeah, I do wanna meet my son. I do wanna actually come down there, humble myself, and answer whatever questions need to be answered, bro. I think that's dope. Yeah, that's dope, man.
I got another one.
What's up?
They can't
What's
see me out
up?
here. Mwah. Say hi.
Hi.
You see who that is? That's Uncle Sean. I know he cut his hair,
I know
so
I cut
he,
my
he
dread.
probably don't recognize.
You good?
He said, "Are you good?"
Yeah. Okay, that's good. That's good. Sorry, y'all, for y'all listening. I know it's not a good visual, but he has two beautiful children with him that came to stop by and say what's up. So sorry for y'all that's listening. You're like, what? What are y'all talking about? His two.
Yeah, I apologize. Okay, give me a kiss, and I'll see you soon. All right, sorry.
No, no worries, bro. No worries. Like I said, hey, it's dad life, man. It happens.
You already know.
But did you get a chance to, you heard what I said, right, or no?
One more time, brother.
Okay, basically, man, I was just saying that was pretty dope as far as with your dad being able to humble himself, 'cause especially, he comes with that older generation, right, where it's like, you gotta come to me type of thing. So the fact he was able to humble himself, and to come down there and be like, man, I am going to answer these questions, and the fact that you also understood, hey, I know there's different parts of the story at times. You being a father,
Hmm.
understanding that, and checking your ego as well, and be like, man, let me figure out who this guy is, man. I think that's dope, bro.
Yeah, I think that was a beautiful thing, man, and I think it was one of the things that kind of made it a little easier for myself. Knowing that he was so willing and ready to come out here and introduce himself and have those tough conversations. Because think about it, I'm thinking about myself if I was in that spot where I haven't seen one of my children in 37 years, and now actually knowing about them and having like small talk and conversations now, and now physically coming to see them. Oh man, my emotions and my nerves would be in shambles, bro. It'll look
Yeah,
like a gene. That's how squiggly that sucker would be. So I know for myself it would be hard. So knowing that he was able to and willing to come out here and do that, man, that was a beautiful thing. Like
yeah.
I couldn't have asked for an easier like transition. You know.
No, that's dope, bro. I wanted to ask you too, man. Actually, so because you're so involved in your kids, and just such a big part of their lives, which is a beautiful thing. As we saw as they did a guest appearance, right? Just as far as how so, like, for example, you didn't have that example, like you said, you just finally met your dad after 37 years. So how did you make sure you wasn't um just a present dad, but a dad that was actually involved, right? Because you're super involved in everything your kids do. So you could have had the mindset of, man, you know what? My dad wasn't around. I saw dads go in and out. Yeah, they might not have been the best as far as treating, your grandma or your mom. Of course, you understood
Hmm.
that part. But how did you make sure it wasn't just, hey, as long as I'm here with my kids, that's all that matters, right? Because that's easy too, where it's like you didn't have that example. So I've also seen it where it's like, hey, I'm a dad though. I'm here. Like I don't necessarily want to be bothered with them. Like you said, I think you called it fluff or something, right? They ask you questions, you just kind of give them fluff or give them whatever, so they can kind of get out your face and go back to doing what
Hmm.
they doing. Go back to doing what you're doing. So how did you get to that point? Because it's been like that from the jump with you, where you always been
Hmm.
involved with everything your kids do. So how did you, I guess, do that, bro? How did you end up becoming that type of father?
Well, a lot of people kind of base, their decision making off of knowledge and experience. So, experiences. So, I know during those times for me, when they weren't there, I think about how I felt during that time, what I wanted to hear during that time, who I
Mhm.
wanted to see during that time, and what I wanted to feel myself, from whatever energy is coming from that person at that time. So I just base it off of that. So I know my kids, of course, they want me present, but it's more than just being here physically. I have to be here spiritually, I have to be here mentally, and, I have to be here, I have to be encouraging when I'm here. I have to be the disciplinary. There's so many different hats that you have to wear, while you're here. So knowing that all those are important, I got to be 100% in all those, or at least try,
Yeah.
because nobody's perfect. So I know for me when I was younger, if I was doing a sport, I remember I played NJB. That was like that National Junior Basketball League
Yeah.
where they do the little traveling and stuff like that. I remember when I played it. While I was playing, it was fun for me, but the games were not fun for me. And why the
Mm.
games weren't fun for me is because I knew I wasn't gonna have like the support there that I needed. Somebody who was, unapologetically not worrying about anybody else and what they think on what they're doing there. Whether they're out there screaming my name, I don't care if I got my ball blocked and they were still out there screaming my name, that would give me that extra, to get out there and do better while I'm enjoying it. So since I know I didn't have that during that time, I was just there, like what do I do? I'm out here, I'm looking around. I knew how I was during that time. So now for these kids, when you go to our functions, whether it be my son's karate or my daughter's competition, ballet or whatnot, I am going to be one of the loudest ones if my wife don't beat me, as far as my volume, because I want them to know that I'm there, and not just there physically. I'm there in every other aspect for them.
Yeah.
I want them to see me. I want them to hear me. I want them to feel me. I want them to feel my energy. When I pump them up, I want them to feel that. When I'm encouraging them, I want them to feel that. When I'm consoling them when they're not performing at their best, I want them to feel that. I don't want them to just see me out there. Nah, you're gonna almost feel like I'm right there holding your hand on that stage so you can perform at your best. And even if it isn't your best, I'm still gonna be right there holding that hand. So
That's
I just base all of my movements off of, what I felt like I needed and I wanted during that time. Being a boy that was thrown into, his grandmother's household where she already still had her other young kids, and not being in a house with my mom and my other sisters. So I feel like I knew what I was missing during that time. So I was ready to give it all to him, and I'm gonna keep on giving it all to him. And I ain't worried about what anybody else is saying. And one thing I can say is the parents do know me. The parents do know me, whether it be at my school, at my kids' school, or at their little competitions. The parents are gonna know me. Oh, that's Jeremiah's dad. Oh, that's Josephine's dad. And even the other kids would be looking to me like, well, hey, why you not cheering for me? Like, they feel that, they see the way my kids react when I'm actually doing my thing, so they want to see that same thing as well. So
yeah.
I just, well, that's it right there. Just basing off myself, because I can only base it off of my experiences. I can't base it off of anybody else's experiences because I'm only me.
Yeah. That's no, that's dope, bro. So I wanted to ask you too, then, because like you said, like you want to make sure your kids understand, that you're there. You want to also obviously encourage them. You want to instill certain things into them, and they know, like, hey, dad got your back at the end of the day, no matter what, right? So, obviously, you instill different things into your kids, and want to encourage them and make sure that your presence is felt, right? And so, um, I wanted to ask you, bro, like how is it, because right with your oldest isn't there with you all the time, so how is it, like, basically how do you kind of handle when you might instill certain things but it's different at the household where he's at with his mom, right? But then it's different. Like, how do you kind of balance that, right? Because I remember for me, when I did visit my dad, right, the dynamic was different than obviously, when I was home. So how do you kind of, I guess, balance that out? Where, like, what's the? I guess the question is, honestly, what's the biggest challenge, right? What's the biggest challenge of um, not being able to have all of them in the household where you're in, because you're still in, obviously, when your son's with you, you're still in those same values, right? But what's the biggest challenge of when he's not there?
I think the biggest challenge, whether he be here or not here, would be perception. And the reason why I say perception is because when he's here, but he hasn't been here for maybe a couple weeks, before that, or maybe even a month, depending on what's going on with his schooling or the kids' schooling over here. So when he comes back, the perception from the kids and the wife that's here with me every single day is that I'm a lot easier on him. And that may not even that's not necessarily true. He's just a different age than the kids that are here right now. So I feel at different ages you're gonna be dealing with these kids a different way. You know, when my daughter busts out into crying after her getting in trouble, I may console her, right away. My boys, I may console them, but it may not be right away. We have to have a conversation first because I need you to understand why I'm doing what I'm doing. The end result will be if you decide not to listen, and the end result will be if you decide to listen. So it'll be a whole conversation. After that conversation is done, then I'm consoling them. Now with my oldest, I feel like a couple words out of my mouth, he's feeling it already. It's
Mm-hmm.
a lot easier. He's been around me a little bit longer. He understands me a little bit more when it comes to discipline and things like that. So he's gonna react different. So I may not need to say that much. It may not need to be a long drawn out conversation. It just may need to be a couple words for him to know that, him to understand or be able to gauge what dad's disappointment is in me because I didn't listen to this. So the perception would be you're a lot easier on him because he's not here all the time. But that's not true. It's just the kids need to be dealt with differently at different ages.
Yeah.
So I feel perception is a big one, bro. That's
Yeah.
one of the biggest challenges, and knowing that he's exposed to different things at the other household versus when he's over here, that's another thing right there.
Yeah.
Because not to say that there's no structure over there, but the structure that I have on this side, me and my wife, is completely different. There's requirements as soon as you wake up. There's things you need to meet, or goals you need to meet in order for you to be able to watch this TV show. As you can hear my kids ask me right now, they ask, "Hey, can I do all my chores and brush my teeth, wash my face, and then after I do this, clean the cat litter box, then I'm gonna watch a show." They didn't say I didn't ask to watch a show at the end. They told me they were gonna watch a show because they already understand what my expectations are. They've already rattled off everything that I need to hear, and then they told me what they're gonna do afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
So the structure is a little bit different. He has that, but over there, he can get up in the morning late than a mug. He can stay up at night super late. He doesn't necessarily have to get up right away. Or if he does get up right away and it's super early, he can go straight to eating and video games. And he can do that the entire day. They may get up and move around a little bit, but there's no parks in there. There's no required reading, throughout the day. There's no real chore requirements because the adults are gonna have that house clean already because they want it a certain way. There's a different dynamic.
Yeah.
Coming over here, heck yeah, he on top of it. He know what I expect.
Yeah.
But he will say like, I don't have to do this stuff over there. I can stay up until 3 o'clock in the morning on my phone or 3 o'clock in the morning on the PlayStation and then get up at 8 o'clock in the morning and go right back to it again. I can
Yeah.
do that. Nobody's gonna bother me. But he's like, when I'm over here, oh man, I gotta get up. I gotta at least sleep 7 to 8 hours, and then I gotta get up from there, and then I have to kind of go and do my chores, and then I gotta make sure I'm washed up, and I gotta make sure I put my clothes on and stuff, all before I can do any of this other stuff. And then
Mm,
even when I'm done, I may not even get that much screen time. I may have to go outside, go ride my scooter, ride my bike, or go throw a football. There's different requirements. So
yeah.
yeah, it's always gonna be, it's challenging, bro. It's always gonna be challenging. But
Yeah.
like I said, I'm always up for the challenge. This is what I made a decision to do, and with that, I'm gonna eat it up like
Yeah.
it's a dinner plate, man. I got to do it.
No, for real, man. No, and I mean, honestly, I feel like that's a beautiful thing, and it also just highlights, I think, the difference between fathers and mothers a lot of times too. Mothers do have structure as well, but obviously they're going to be a little bit more nurturing. They're going to be more so, hey, it's okay, I'm gonna let you do this, right? Where compared to when he's with you, hey, these are the requirements I need done. This is what needs to be done. But at the same time, you're also helping him become
Yeah,
a young man, right? So because at the end of the day, one day
exactly.
he's going to be the head of his household, so he's going to need
Mm,
structure. He's going to need some type of balance. So what you're doing makes
yeah.
sense. I wanted to ask you too, as we get ready soon to close out. But I want to ask you two things. First thing is, what do you think? To go back to you meeting your dad and stuff like that, what would you think? And again, you don't lack anything. Your grandma, your mom, and the people around you did an amazing job. But what do you think life would be like if you was able to see your dad more consistently growing up? Do you think it would be different? And if so, in which way? Right? Like you still would be the amazing person you are, but what do you think that would have helped in a sense?
Well, I think with asking me that question, I feel like there's like two sides to it.
Okay.
There's a positive and there's a negative side when it
Okay.
comes to me feeling like if he was in my household and I grew up with him, how I would be. Now I feel like on the good side, um, I would have I would have had a different type of upbringing. I would have had some type of sense of what a man was and what a man should be, earlier in my life versus figuring the stuff out when I'm like 17, 18 years old, getting ready to step out into the real world by myself, you know? So I would have that. But on the negative side of it, I feel like whatever his negative traits were, whatever those were, I would be able to see those and
Mm,
I would subconsciously end up adopting those versus the time where he wasn't there and I was able to kind of pick apart different people, different men that were around in my life and grab whatever positive pieces I felt like I wanted to add to myself. I feel like if this man is my dad, your vision of, who your dad is, whether he be a superhero to you or not, just that vision of him, I would subconsciously end up inheriting or having those same traits, which could be a damper for my life later. Then I'll end up being not myself, but I end up being a man that's based off an image of another man that was forced into my life because
mm,
I didn't make a choice to be born. He made a choice to have me. So I would be that versus who I am today, the man that is not like a lot of other men that I meet. Whether it be some negative things or all my positive things.
yeah.
So I wouldn't be that. I would be this over here.
True. True. And so I guess my last question to ask you, man, is because people that's listening, watching, they're like, man, that's pretty dope. Like he was able to meet his dad. He was able to really connect with him. You did the work, right? And obviously once you did connect with your dad, he had to do the work too and humble himself and reach out and actually come out and all those things, which is great. So I want to ask you for those that maybe they have the opportunity to reach their dad or maybe they have questions about their dads, what would you say to encourage them? Because they might be like, man, yeah, I do know my dad is whatever. He's not that far away. I could reach out to him, but I'm choosing not to because this is what I was told, right? So I just kind of ran with that. Or, you know what, I just don't have no desire to reach my dad because, you know, at the end of the day, again, something I was told. A lot of it is secondhand, right? It's never really firsthand. Doesn't mean that even if we reach out to our fathers that was absent, doesn't mean that they'll be the father that we need them to be. Doesn't mean that they'll welcome us. Doesn't mean that, you know, they might be exactly everything that your mother said they were, right? In a negative light. But for those that's just more so like thinking about it, like, man, you know, I don't know if I could do that. I don't know if I could actually reach out and humble myself to reach out to this man that was supposed to be a father. Like, basically, what type of advice or what type of gems that you would like to give them, man, just for someone that, you know, don't have that father figure but is thinking about reaching out?
I would say to ask yourself a couple questions. You know, how solid is your spirit, and how
Mm,
solid is that love that you have for yourself and who you are. Once you ask
mm,
yourself those questions and you come to a conclusion, it doesn't matter how that situation will turn out. But reaching out is something that's going to be positive for you, whether you get a negative response from him or a positive response from him. You know, it's going to be an ad for you. Now you're going to know how he is. Now you're going to know if he missed being in your life. Now you're going to know a lot of different things. You know, so make sure when you ask yourself those questions and you get your answer, you are solid, because nothing that could come from over there, that other side that you're trying to reach out to, can negatively affect you. You have
mm,
to be able to control that. You know, it shouldn't be able to negatively affect you if your shield is already solid. If you ain't got no chinks in your shield, you don't have to worry about that. But building relationships and being able to build this type of relationship on your own terms is a blessing. It's a beautiful thing. So don't stop yourself. Don't hesitate, you know, to reach out. You know, reach out. However it's going to be is how it's going to be. You know, regardless if you did it or you didn't do it, it's going to be that. Just reach out. See if something positive comes from it. Some negative comes from it, you'll shield good. It's going to bounce right on off. Why? Because the love for yourself is already 150%. You know, what you think about yourself is already positive. Nobody should be able to tell you something about yourself and make you feel even more like better about yourself than you can do for yourself. You know, I'm gonna tell myself every day I'm the greatest. I'm the greatest. So
right.
you just got to continue to you build yourself up. Whether I feel like I'm 100% that day or not, I'm the greatest. Why? Because I feel that way. I tell myself I'm that way, and that's what's really in me, not what's just showing today. You know, that's what's in me. You know, so nobody should be able to beat you down. That relationship that comes from over there, whatever the situation, it shouldn't be able to beat you down, tear you down, or change anything that you have going on. You know, unless you want it to. So if something positive comes from there and you want to add that in, and that is a plus for you, which makes you feel a little lighter on your feet or think a little differently, yes, cool. But you have to make the decision to let that positively affect you or negatively affect you.
That's real, bro. No, I appreciate that, man. That's definitely some gems. I hope y'all, you know, really take heed to what he's saying, man. And it's a beautiful thing, bro. And I definitely just appreciate your time, of course, man. And you know, man, you came a long way, bro. You know, shoot, we known each other for a long time, man. So I'm just so proud of you and the amazing father, husband, you know, brother to me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I appreciate it.
I'm just so thankful for you, man, and thank you for, you know, taking the time out, bro.
Hey, man, I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful for you continuously reaching out, no matter how busy I am, no matter how many times I miss those phone calls. I appreciate you reaching out because you never stop and you have never stopped. And I don't think you ever will. And that's what looking at you continues to makes me want to be like a better man. Continue to make me want to, you know, look back and self-reflect and be like, hey, can I do something a little bit differently right there? So I respect you as a father because I always look at how you do things. And brother, I just say you are a blessing, man. Just and keep on blessing others with your knowledge, whether it be something out of this world or something super simple. You know, we appreciate you.
No, I appreciate it, man. Definitely humbling, bro. I thank you, man, for that. And like always, y'all, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, tell a friend. The community continues to grow, so I'm so thankful for that, y'all. And like always, always remember, you don't have to be perfect, but you always have to be present. I'll see you guys on the next one.
Amen.